Let's talk about all of the moves that have happened so far in free agency. The Baltimore Ravens have signed Derrick Henry to a 2-year deal, which means that the Ravens now have a true running back one for the first time since Ray Rice. This is a huge improvement to the Ravens' run game, and nothing against Gus Edwards, but I'll take Derrick Henry over the Gus Bus any day. Defensively, Justin Madubuike has also re-signed along with a few other Ravens players, so the Ravens should be good going into 2024. The Cincinnati Bengals have dropped Joe Mixon and signed Zack from the Indianapolis Colts. The Bengals have also picked up Mike Gesicki from New England and Sheldon Rankins from the Houston Texans. Here's a full list for you. The Bengals are also going to look a little different this year without Joe Mixon, but I think it's a change for the better. The Pittsburgh Steelers have picked up Russell Wilson, and they've also picked up Justin Fields. Fun fact for you, there are only 5 active NFL quarterbacks that have played in and won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Joe Flacco, and Russell Wilson. The Steelers are hoping that Russell Wilson will turn back the clock and take them to that next level. That being said, the Steelers did let go of Deontay Johnson, so hopefully they'll be able to pick up another wide receiver this offseason to help out George Pickens. Justin Fields in the quarterback room will add another layer of complexity. But if there's one thing that you can count on from the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's them having 2 really bad quarterbacks and not being sure what to do with either of them. Anyways, Patrick Queen and Miles Kilbrew should also help out the Steelers on defense. The Cleveland Browns have made some interesting moves. Jameis Winston will be Deshaun Watson's backup this season. Nyheim Hines will also join the team, with Nick Chubb likely to miss the first couple of weeks. And Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos has left one orange team to join another. The Browns have also picked up linebacker Jordan Hicks on defense, along with a slew of other players to boost their secondary. In the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans are entering a new era. Derrick Henry is gone, and the Tennessee Titans have to make some big changes. Tony Pollard of the Dallas Cowboys and Calvin Ridley of the Jacksonville Jaguars have both signed with Tennessee. That means if Will Levis can get healthy, the combination of D-Hop and Calvin Ridley could make Will Levis a breakout candidate this season for fantasy football purposes. The Tennessee Titans have made a ton of personnel changes, and they're going to look noticeably different on both sides of the football next year. The Jacksonville Jaguars have picked up Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills. As you can see, they've made a lot of moves. I wonder, is Gabe Davis as good as Calvin Ridley? Honestly, in my opinion, I'd say yeah, probably. The Jaguars have also picked up Devin Duvernay from the Baltimore Ravens. The Jaguars are another team that's going to have a lot of new faces this season, including Packers safety Darnell Savage and defensive tackle Arik Armstead. The Indianapolis Colts signed Joe Flacco to a 1-year deal. He'll be competing against Anthony Richardson for the starting job. They've also added Raekwon Davis of the Miami Dolphins. The rest of the free agency moves for the Indianapolis Colts have all been contract renewals, so I've left them off the list here. And the Houston Texans have made a huge move by signing Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals to their roster. On defense, the Texans have also picked up Azeez Al-Shaair, Daniel Hunter, and Folorunso Fatukasi. The Texans defense is going to be solid this year, and I'm excited to see once again what DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud can do this year. In the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins are coming into free agency in pretty good shape. They really don't have to make too many changes on offense, so instead they've focused on adding defensive pieces like safety Jordan Poyer from Buffalo, linebacker Shaquille Barrett from Tampa Bay, and outside corner Kendall Fuller from Washington. These moves should help improve their team, even if it is only slightly. The New York Jets are still banking on Aaron Rodgers to take them to the promised land, but they've mitigated some of their risk by picking up Tyrod Taylor to back up the 40-year-old quarterback. The Jets have also added Javon Kinlaw, the former defensive tackle for the 49ers, and Tyron Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. Ouch. But they did lose Jordan Whitehead. Really though, we all just want to watch Aaron Rodgers play a full season for the Jets regardless of the offseason moves. The Buffalo Bills have picked up wide receiver Mac Hollins from the Atlanta Falcons to fill in for Gabe Davis, and they've picked up Curtis Samuel from Washington to fill in for Khalil Shakir. Buffalo's also picked up the backup quarterback Mitchell Trubisky to back up Josh Allen, and they've also re-signed a handful of players. The New England Patriots without Bill Belichick are going to look very different this season. The Patriots signed Jacoby Brissett to be their starting quarterback for 2024, and running back Antonio Gibson has also agreed to a 3-year deal in New England. Austin Hooper also signed with the Red, White, and Blue, along with a few other defensive players. In the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, so they really don't need to make a lot of changes or a lot of moves in free agency. But just for funsies, they have signed Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's going to be a really good fit for the Chiefs. They've also signed Irv Smith Jr. from the Cincinnati Bengals, and defensively, the Chiefs have renewed contracts with Drew Tranquill and Chris Jones, which will go down as a win for Kansas City, but they did give up a few pieces in free agency as well. So let's see if the defense for the Chiefs is going to be as good this year as it was last year. The Las Vegas Raiders are in trouble of having another rough season, but what's new? Josh Jacobs is gone and Jimmy G has been cut. That means that backup running back Zamir White will be the main rusher and Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. On the bright side, defensive tackle Christian Wilkins of the Miami Dolphins has agreed to a 4-year deal in Las Vegas, and they'll be looking to score big as the 13th pick in this year's draft. In Los Angeles, the Chargers let go of Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, and Mike Williams. They've signed the former Ravens running back Gus Edwards to a 2-year deal and picked up 2 tight ends as well, Will Dissly from the Seattle Seahawks and Hayden Hurst from the Carolina Panthers. I have no idea what the Chargers are planning to do this season, but it's looking like a rebuild season to me. I wonder what that's going to do to Justin Herbert's stock this fantasy season. And in Denver, the Broncos currently have Jarrett Stidham as their starting quarterback, and if you don't know who that is, don't feel bad, because nobody else does either. The Broncos did pick up defensive tackle Malcolm Roach and the Dolphins safety Brandon Jones, but let's be real, the Broncos are in pretty bad shape coming into 2024. Honestly, I kind of feel bad for Sean Payton and the Broncos, but not really that bad. Alright guys, let's move on to the NFC. If you're still with me, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Moving on. In the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings have picked up running back Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers, so I know Packers fans are pretty salty about that one. The Vikings have also picked up wide receiver Brandon Powell, but the Vikings don't really have anyone who can throw the football because they let go of Kirk Cousins and signed Sam Darnold instead. They also picked up 2 new linebackers, so at least they'll have the chance to get the ball back whenever Sam Darnold does turn the ball over. The Green Bay Packers have redeemed themselves after letting Aaron Jones go to the Minnesota Vikings by picking up Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. And in my opinion, that was one of the biggest moves of this offseason. Defensively, the Packers picked up Xavier McKinney and Corey Ballentine, but they still have some holes to fill. Still, their young offense led by Jordan Love should continue to get better. The Chicago Bears have picked up DeAndre Swift at running back and also picked up both Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett from the LA Chargers. But the Bears know their biggest weakness was that offensive line, and this season they've tried to address that issue. The Bears have also made some defensive moves in free agency, but who's to say if it's going to actually help? That being said, the Bears do have the #1 pick in this year's draft, so I'm pretty sure they're going to end up going for Caleb Williams. The Detroit Lions are coming into the offseason proud of what they've accomplished this year. This team is remaining mostly intact, so no big changes here. They have picked up Zonovan Knight as their running back 3, but they're mostly focused on beefing up their defense this offseason. DJ Reader from the Cincinnati Bengals and Marcus Davenport from Minnesota and a few others have joined the defense to give the Lions a much-needed boost. In the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons have signed Kirk Cousins to their roster, making Kirk Cousins the highest-paid quarterback coming out of free agency in NFL history. The Falcons have also signed Darnell Mooney from the Chicago Bears and Ray McCloud to help take some of the pressure off of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. The Carolina Panthers have signed wide receiver Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That should help out Adam Thielen and should give Bryce Young another target. Maybe together they can get the Panthers to 3 wins instead of just 2 this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will remain mostly the same. Mike Evans re-signed a 2-year contract and Baker Mayfield agreed to a 3-year deal with Tampa Bay. Defensively, they've picked up safety Jordan Whitehead from the Jets, which should improve their defense downfield. The Buccaneers also re-signed running back Chase Edmonds, kicker Chase McLaughlin, and a handful of other players. And the New Orleans Saints picked up Nathan Peterman, a backup quarterback for Derek Carr now that Jameis Winston has moved on. The Saints also signed former Chiefs linebacker Willie Gay to their roster. In the NFC East, the Eagles have made some big moves, the biggest of which is signing Saquon Barkley to a 3-year deal. Saquon Barkley, in addition to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts, spells trouble for the entire league. Make no mistake, guys, the Eagles are going to come out swinging this year. The Eagles also picked up wide receiver Devontae Parker and corner C.J. Gardner-Johnson. In New York, the New York Giants continue sliding down the ladder of relevance like the banana splits, picking up quarterback Drew Lock, wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, and running back Devin Singletary. After losing Saquon Barkley to a rival team and being stuck with Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and Drew Lock, I mean, guys, I'm sorry, Giants fans, but this is going to be another ugly season for y'all. The Washington Commanders have also picked up some interesting names over the past few weeks, one of which being the addition of running back Austin Eckler from the LA Chargers on a 2-year deal. They've also picked up tight end Zack from the Arizona Cardinals and quarterback Marcus Mariota. Not to mention that the Commanders have also picked up Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator from the Dallas Cowboys. Former Cowboys center Tyler Biadasz has also betrayed us, and so has Dorrance Armstrong. So that's something to keep an eye on. They've also picked up future Hall of Fame linebacker Bobby Wagner to join their team. Honestly, the Commanders are looking really good right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we had another year with 3 NFC East teams in the playoffs again like we had back in 2022. And of course, my Dallas Cowboys have done absolutely nothing significant during this time period besides lose key players. Cowboys did sign linebacker Eric Kendrick from the Chargers, but that's not going to be enough to fill the holes left by the Dallas exodus. The Cowboys will probably end up overpaying for Dak and running into salary cap issues. Keep in mind right now, the Dallas Cowboys have no real running back, we've lost half the offensive line, we have no defensive coordinator, and we just lost Leighton Vander Esch and Michael Gallup. Not that that's going to make a huge difference, but it's something else to note. I have no idea what Jerry Jones plans to do this season, but we're all just going to have to live with it. And finally, in the NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks have made some moves on both sides of the football, including the addition of Sam Howell, but they're mostly focused on retaining their free agents instead of signing new ones. The Rams are really in the same boat with no big moves coming as of yet. They've picked up Colby Parkinson at tight end, Jonah Jackson at offensive guard, and Darius Williams at corner. The Arizona Cardinals have signed 4 new players during this free agency period. Offensive tackle Jonah Williams should also help boost the offensive line, but the Cardinals still look like a flaming dumpster fire. And the San Francisco 49ers also picked up a handful of defensive players, including defensive end Leonard Floyd and defensive tackle Malik Collins, but the 49ers are in pretty good shape coming off of last year's Super Bowl run. So there you have it, boys and girls. Those are all of the big free agency moves that have happened so far during this free agency period in 2024. There are still a couple of other big names that are floating around out there, and of course, the 2024 NFL Draft is April 25th. So be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, guys, my name is Mario Manuel. You're watching Football Nation. Let's effing go.